3 children are dead, and the defense says psychosis erased their mother's capacity. Jurors were asked to return a verdict of not guilty by reason of lack of criminal responsibility, with the entire case turned from what happened to whether Lindsay Clancy could substantially appreciate what she was doing when her 3 children died, including a child identified as Dawson Clancy. Will the jury find reasonable doubt that a qualifying mental disease or defect removed that capacity, or find that capacity remained and a guilty verdict is required? Journals from late 2022 and early 2023 were presented as a contemporaneous record of decline. Prescribed medications logged, thoughts worsening, motivation gone, deep depression deepening, while photographs, social media posts, journals, and family activities from the same period were offered to show sustained love and care for the children before the killings. An out-of-character contrast central to the claim that psychosis, not intent, drove the acts. The psychosis claim was anchored to expert testimony. Dr. Phil Resnik was cited as finding Clancy in psychosis when the children died, with Dr. Paul Zizel and psychopharmacology expert Dr. Carney cited as also supporting a qualifying disease or defect at that time, linked to postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis, prescription drug effects, and inadequate medical care. Against that, the closing argued government experts had not rebutted the showing beyond a reasonable doubt, pointing to a government expert identified as Halburn described as saying either conclusion was possible. The law was framed as a twofold burden. Jurors were told the prosecution must prove both guilt and that Clancy was not suffering from a mental disease or defect that removed substantial capacity to appreciate what she was doing. Psychosis was presented as that defect with postpartum illness, medication effects, and poor medical care together, leaving her without that capacity at the moment the children died. 3 children died. The closing asked jurors to separate that fact from the legal question of capacity, arguing love and care before the killings, documented across journals and family life, made the acts unrecognizable as the mother's prior conduct, and pointed toward illness rather than understanding. Records and internet searches were cited as markers of escalating distress. Multiple prescription drugs, side effects, ketamine treatment, and suicide-related subjects, alongside journals tracking worsening thoughts in late 2022 and early 2023. The close also alleged investigative gaps. A cup and powder, medication residue, and a possible pill crusher were collected but not analyzed, leaving open what substances were in the home while the medication effect theory was central. Physical and digital evidence was contested directly. Testimony that the children were strangled with knotted bands was disputed, and a bowl was argued not to prove chicken McNuggets were being prepared. A phone record logging 3 flights of stairs at 5:38 p.m. was argued not to fix location because the phone was later left on a bed, so device movement could not be equated with her movement. And the closing urged jurors not to decide psychosis by whether reported voices were experienced as inside or outside the head, citing Dr. Resnik's research that location does not determine psychosis. The suicide attempt was characterized as severe and significant throat and wrist wounds, a fall from a window, spinal and rib injuries, major surgery, and a blood transfusion, with post-incident contacts with Chaplain Sheila and Dr. Paul Zizel offered as windows into mental state immediately after.
What jurors have not heard in this record is the prosecution's closing, the judge's actual written instructions on how to apply burden and criminal responsibility, the full testimony of the government experts, whether any forensic analysis was done on the cup, powder, residue, or crusher, and the specific drugs, doses, and timing at issue.
No verdict is contained in this record, so the decision between conviction and not criminally responsible turns entirely on whether jurors find reasonable doubt about a qualifying mental disease or defect. Like and follow for more stories that matter.